January 14th, 2018, 5:49 a.m. The streets of Perris, California, are silent, wrapped in a pre-dawn chill. The sky is still black, the streetlights casting pools of amber over empty asphalt. But inside a beige, two-story home on Muir Woods Road, a different kind of darkness has been festering for years. Tonight, that darkness is about to crack. A 17-year-old girl, frail and trembling, presses her ear to a bedroom door. Every creak in the floorboards makes her heart slam harder against her ribs. She waits, listens. The house is quiet. Her parents are asleep. She takes a breath, grips a cracked cell phone, and climbs onto a dresser beneath a narrow window. She has never stepped beyond these walls without permission. She has never felt the bite of January air on her skin. But desperation has erased the fear of the unknown. With one final push, she slips out into the cold night. The pavement feels strange under her worn sneakers. She doesn't know which direction to go. The neighborhood is foreign to her. For 17 years, the world outside her house has been like a distant planet she's only glimpsed on a smuggled phone screen. She raises the phone to her ear and dials 3 numbers. On the 911 recording, her voice quivers but is urgent. "My parents are abusive. There's 13 of us. Some are chained to beds." She stumbles over her words, breathing fast. She doesn't know the name of the street, but she knows the house she just escaped from. She knows the smell, the screams, the years of silence that pressed on her like a weight she could no longer carry. When police arrive at 160 Muir Woods Road just after 6:10 a.m., the house looks ordinary. The grass is trimmed, the curtains neatly drawn. But when the door opens, the illusion collapses. A foul stench of rot, filth, and human waste seeps out. The air inside is thick, almost suffocating. An officer shines his flashlight down a narrow hallway. In the shadows, the nightmare becomes real. 7 children, some so thin their arms look like sticks, stand motionless. They don't speak, just stare with hollow, frightened eyes. They wear soiled clothes stiff from grime. In one room, 2 teenage girls are shackled to their beds with heavy, rusted chains. In another, a boy's wrists are red and raw, marked deeply from restraints. The youngest, only 2 years old, is silent, clinging to the leg of an older sibling. Requesting immediate backup, the officer says, his voice cracking. Possible child endangerment, multiple victims. David and Louise Turpin, the parents, are found in the living room. Louise's hair is tangled, her clothes mismatched, but her eyes hold a strange defiance. David avoids looking at anyone, muttering under his breath. To neighbors, they were the eccentric couple who kept to themselves. They took family trips to Las Vegas and Disneyland, always in matching outfits. But behind closed doors, their home was a fortress of control and cruelty. Investigators uncover years of calculated abuse. The children were fed once a day, often cold, packaged food. Showers came only once a year. Sleep schedules were reversed, awake at night, sleeping in the day, to avoid being seen outside. Any attempt to take food without permission was met with beatings, days without meals, or weeks in chains. The Turpins dictated every detail of their lives, from how they spoke to how they moved. They were forbidden to laugh too loudly or speak to each other without permission. The 17-year-old's escape had been planned for 2 years. She hid a phone between her mattress and bed frame, using it to watch Justin Bieber videos and study the outside world. She would rehearse what she would say if she ever reached someone who could help. She feared people wouldn't believe her, that her story was too monstrous to be true. When news breaks, the nation is horrified. Perry's residents can't fathom how such abuse happened unnoticed. They didn't play outside, one neighbor recalls. If we saw them at all, they looked frozen, like they didn't know how to be kids. Court records reveal a disturbing belief system. The Turpins claimed God had chosen them to have many children, twisting religion into justification for their domination. They staged stiff, awkward family photos to maintain the illusion of a happy home. Inside, the children were prisoners. In 2019, David and Louise Turpin plead guilty to 14 felony counts, including child cruelty and false imprisonment. At sentencing, some children speak through tears. One says, "My parents took my whole life from me, but now I'm taking it back." Another, learning to ride a bicycle for the first time at age 20, says, "I'm free now, but I have a lot to learn." The judge sentences them to life in prison, with the possibility of parole after 25 years. Yet freedom for the children comes with its own challenges. Many struggle with PTSD, navigating basic skills most people learn as toddlers. Later reports reveal that some suffered neglect even in foster care, raising painful questions about the system meant to protect them. The Turpin case forces a reckoning. It's not just a story of unimaginable cruelty, it's a testament to the resilience of those who survive it, and to the bravery of one teenager who risked everything to save her family. The neighbors on Muir Woods Road remembered little about the Turpins, and that was part of the problem. Their house seemed to exist on the edge of reality, always closed off. One neighbor recalled that even on Halloween, when the whole street glowed with porch lights and laughter, the Turpin home was dark. "It was like no one lived there," she said. Another remembered that sometimes, in the dead of night, faint lights flickered in the upstairs windows, but never during the day. Inside, the children's lives followed a rigid schedule. The Turpins called it God's order. Every day began with reciting Bible passages, not for faith, but as a test of obedience. If a child stumbled over a verse, the punishment was swift: no food for that day, sometimes longer. Homework assignments were meaningless, copied from outdated textbooks that were stacked in corners of the living room. The oldest children acted as jailers for the younger ones, forced to enforce their parents' rules or face punishments themselves. When investigators searched the home, they documented every room in painstaking detail. The kitchen cabinets were locked with padlocks. The refrigerator contained only a few items: a carton of eggs, some moldy tortillas, and an open jar of peanut butter. In the bedrooms, mattresses were stained and frayed, with piles of dirty clothes shoved into corners. One closet held nothing but dozens of identical outfits, same color, same cut, a uniform of control. A former classmate of one of the older Turpin girls came forward later. She'd met the girl briefly during an attempted enrollment at a local college. She was polite, almost painfully so, the classmate said. But she didn't understand how a cafeteria worked. She didn't know how to use the vending machine. She looked at the coins in her hand like she wasn't sure what they were for. The enrollment lasted only a few days before the girl vanished from campus. Even after their rescue, the adjustment to freedom was overwhelming. Simple things, crossing a busy street, buying food, even turning on a television, felt like learning a new language. Here at Crimes Uncoded, we don't just tell crime stories, we break down the laws behind them. Subscribe now, because next, we're uncovering the perfect murder and the law that couldn't touch it.